Hey guys, hope everyone is doing well. I feel so honored that I got permission to share this experience. Recently had a client who was part of the Columbine shooting, and this actually was her second session with me. It didn't even come up in the first session that she was part of Columbine, go figure, because other human things were were happening in her life, but it did come out the second time. And I don't remember how this happened, but she had shared, like, she was fine with Columbine. She, just kind of shoved everything down, didn't really have any memories. But I think she said after our last session, she had something that came back. And what it was she had the visual of her just running towards the door and the feelings that she felt as she was running towards the door. And so having her feel those feelings, we're going through and doing the clearing process, and the energy was getting stuck in her hands, and it was just kind of going down her arms and getting stuck in her hands. And I know if it's getting stuck in her hands, that she is just hanging on to it tightly. And so that was my next question, is why is it not safe to let this go? Why are you hanging on to this? And she's just like, because I have to. And I'm like, and what is it? What emotion is it that you're hanging on to? And she's just like, the fear. I have to hang on to the fear, basically because the fear keeps her safe. If she lets the fear go, what her word was is she didn't want to be vulnerable. And if she let the fear go, and don't get me wrong, it wasn't like it just came out all like this. It took us a while to get the right words and the right feelings, but that's what it came out was. If she let the fear go, then she would be naive, was one of her other words. Sorry, it was naive and vulnerable, which makes complete sense for so many of us in tons of different experiences in our life. So that's why I love that she's letting me share this, because we will hang on to stuff thinking subconsciously that it's protecting us. So once again, I need you guys to see this all as energy. We are born as light, beautiful light, many different lights with our chakras and different energy centers, but let's just focus on this one. So we are born with this beautiful light, and then over time we have different experiences that we don't know what to do with, that we have to put up walls or loving protective layers, because sometimes the stuff that our parents put us through, yikes. So we have to put up those protective layers in order to feel safe. But these protective layers then will have a vibration, and that vibration is going to attract the same thing. And the reason that this happens in my little world is because now this is a lesson that we have to work through. This is a journey that we have to get. So we're vibrating that, like one of my little agreements is I'm not going to need anybody. I don't need anybody. So what do? I attract people that support that feeling within me. You know what I mean? And so this is how it happens. And so we have these walls up, they have a certain vibration, and they're attracting more of the same. And you're like, but these walls are keeping me safe. And the truth is they're not. They're attracting crappy experiences that I know damn well you don't want to have to go through. So what would happen if you completely let all of those walls down, let all of those protective layers go? You would be that light again. And if someone approached you and said, you know what, you're an idiot because of A, B, C, and D, it would just go through you, because you would know that it had nothing to do with you. You would know that it wasn't part of your journey, that's that person's experience, and they're just putting it off on you. So that's my simplistic way of explaining this process. So be conscious of how you're vibrating. Be conscious of what different walls we're having up. So back to my beautiful client, she did not want to let it go, and it just kept getting stuck, and she just kept basically just kind of hanging on. And I had her do some breathing techniques that really helped with it, but it was kind of weird. Her fingers kind of got a little stuck, and then after we moved through that, we did a different layer of some more activities, and it started to get stuck in her lips. So then of course I take it to, but isn't it safe to say? And so we just cleared a whole different process with that. So I want you guys, I mean, I love that you allowed me to share this so you can see and feel that hanging on to the fear, hanging on to the story, hanging on to the anger, hanging on to the grief, hanging on to the it's my fault, hanging on to the poor me is not serving you. When we can fully let that go and release, it's like complete freedom. And that's actually what she felt like at the end of all of this, because it was extremely intense. The first question I asked as I'm continuing to move energy is, do you feel safe? And she was just like, yes. And she had just felt so much lighter. So don't get me wrong, there's still many layers that we'll still continue to work on, but whew, it was such a beautiful experience. I feel so honored to be able to do this work. I've been able to work with, somebody who was unfortunately part of the Las Vegas shooting, and someone who was part of the Aurora Theater shooting. And it is just straight up trauma, and I won't get political. Anyways, it's an honor. Thank you for taking the time. Be conscious of how you're vibrating. Be conscious of the stories and fears that you're hanging on to. And are they really protecting you, or are they just heavy? Let them go. And don't get me wrong, I still have a lot I gotta let go of too. So I'm working at it too. All right, you guys, thank you so much for taking the time. I love you. Stay blessed. It's gonna be an awesome day.